Welcome back, everyone, to the ACP Automation Adventure podcast. Really excited about these interviews. If you haven't checked out any of the other board members of GSU-PC College, if you haven't checked out those interviews, definitely go to our website, go to our YouTube, and check out some more. But today, we are featuring Tisa Smart-Washington. How are you doing today?
I am doing wonderfully. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Oh,
Well,
that's
virtually, of course.
absolutely. Yes, I cannot wait until, we can start having these interviews in person. But Tisa, let's begin. Just tell us a little bit about yourself if you can introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Tisa Smart-Washington. I tell all the people I'm the only Smart-Washington in my house. I'm the tax commissioner in Rockdale County, and I'm also a board member of GSU-PC.
That's wonderful. I like that. I'm the only Smart-Washington in my family. I like that. Tell us what is one reason or a couple of reasons why you chose to become a board member of GSU-PC?
Well, GSU has a special place in my heart because, especially GSU-PC, because I attended GSU-PC before it was PC. I attended when it was DeKalb College. I graduated from high school. I was the youngest person in my high school class. I turned 15 in February and I graduated in June.
Oh, wow.
And so at that point in my life, I knew college was the next step for me, but I wasn't quite sure what that was going to look like for me. Not only was I young, I was also new to Georgia because I had only lived here for about a year and a half at that point. So, you know how folks grow up and their parents, their legacy of this college and that college. And, that was never my experience because I'm first generation college in my family as well. And so I knew where DeKalb College is what it was called at the time. I knew where it was. And I applied that was the only school that I applied to at the time. And I ended up attending for my first year. My first year I attended DeKalb College. And it really gave me the space to figure college out.
Mm-hmm.
I was too young to just be thrown into a 4-year institution. And I didn't want to take a year off because, you lose momentum. And so, GSU-PC as it's called now, but DeKalb College then really gave me, I use this term, I've been using it lately, space and grace.
Wow.
It really gave me the space to figure out what my college career was going to look like. And I am forever grateful that I had that opportunity.
That's wonderful. And to maintain connections with the college and now be a board member, I mean, that's fantastic. And that's needed because we need more people like you in the community, giving, extending your service and your time for more students to come through. So that's excellent. Oh, so Tisa, what would you say, what's one thing that you know now that you wish you knew when you were back in college?
I wish I knew that, one, I didn't have to have it all figured out. And two, I didn't really know that you could pick a college based on your interest. I'm first generation American as well. And so my experience with my parents or with my mother was go to school. That was
Yes.
the amount of the advice that I got. You should go to school.
Absolutely.
And it took me a couple of years to find my footing. And because it was my assumption that I had to have it figured out, that I had to just pick something and decide. And I didn't have the opportunity to explore while I was still in high school.
Absolutely. That's good.
And so by the time I got to college, instead of exploring and figuring out, I just stuck with this one thing because I said that this is what you're supposed to do. And it
Absolutely.
wasn't until I was a little bit older that I saw the benefit in not having everything figured out, that I'm at a place where I can explore my options. I can take different classes and I can, join different clubs. That's the of being in that safe space during that time. And I think that I probably would have fared a little bit more had I taken that opportunity when I had it.
Absolutely.
I definitely took it. I just took it later.
Oh, hey, that's good. It's better later than never, as we always say. That's really good. And then, college is a space for you to figure it out, and then you entered into the professional world. So what's one thing that really surprised you the most about the professional world that you were never taught?
I wasn't taught anything.
Oh,
I say everything.
absolutely.
Everything. How important relationships are, how important it is, how much learning goes on outside of the classroom.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I try to teach my own kids now. Because I was a good student, I went to school and then I went home.
Absolutely.
And I missed the opportunities that come from participating in SGA or participating in the clubs, or again, the exploration that comes from that. You said you think that you want to, I don't know, you think you want to be an engineer,
Mm-hmm.
and you go through 4 years of schooling and then get out into the real world and realize this is not for me. When if you would have participated in an internship or participated in a club, that you may have been given that exposure a little bit early and been able to pivot in a way that's more difficult to do once you're out of school.
Absolutely.
So
These are great
school is
points.
great. Go to class, study, make good grades, but don't discount the learning that goes on campus outside of the classroom. And don't
Wow.
discount building relationships with anybody that you can, out from your fellow classmates to your professors. Those building relationships with your professors can be a very rewarding experience, and they know of the opportunities that are happening on the professional side of whatever their discipline is, and that can help you in the long run as well.
That's excellent. And by doing these things, taking your advice, Tisa, the students will develop specific skill sets and traits and skills, and that will translate over into the professional world. My last question for you is, what would you say the most important skills and traits are that companies now are looking for prospective employees coming out of college?
You hear a lot about these soft skills, people being able to engage people, and um, the way that they communicate with each other is very important. But I think at the core, employers want people who are open and who are willing to learn. I think sometimes we get so caught up in the degree that we have that we, again, discount the benefit of the learning that happens outside of the classroom. And even when you get into the real world, the learning that happens on the job.
Absolutely.
So a lot of times people come in and they think they know it all. They think that, I have a piece of paper, so then that means that I'm here to show you what I know, you know? And I think that the paper opens the door, but there's so much that you can learn from being open and willing to take on different projects, engage with people you don't normally engage with. I have friends, and they have grown so much in their careers, and they're always the ones that are willing to participate in the leadership programs at their jobs, or the ones that are willing to take on extra projects. And even me, I was a journalism major when I graduated from Georgia State, the 4-year institution as well. So I transferred from PC to Georgia State, and my major was communication. And I worked at a newspaper, and they hired me to be a writer. But I learned how to lay out the paper. I learned Photoshop. I'm a beast with Photoshop now. I learned the technical side of things that I would not have learned had I not been open to taking on projects that were outside of what I was necessarily hired to do, and or what I was hired to do. And I think that you know, it, it is definitely a benefit to finish any degree program, but don't stop learning.
Wow.
The degree is not the end of the journey. The degree is the beginning of a different journey.
I like that. It's the beginning of a different journey. All of our listeners, if you guys haven't been taking notes on this interview, I don't know what you guys have been doing. And just in case you missed it, I'm going to recap just a few major points that Ms. Tisa has given us.
I hope I made a little bit of sense, or gave somebody a little tip.
Oh, no, it's been fantastic. You've been giving a lot of tips, and some of which are GSUPC. It gave you the opportunity to figure things out that first year. I think that's key. And you learn that you don't have to have everything figured out. You have that opportunity to really just engross yourself in these experiences. You also mentioned how important relationships and learning outside the classroom are. And I think that ties into the skill sets that you mentioned that are key and that are important that you learn inside and outside the classroom, which are those soft skills, communication, making sure you can engage people, being open-minded. And then I love that last point, being willing to learn new skills, always be a learner. Tisa, is there anything, last thing that you'd like to say to our listeners before we wrap up this interview?
I just have to say that, over the course of my life, I'm a little seasoned at this point in my life, but over the course of my life, a lot of opportunities have come to me because I've tried new things. I'm a partner in a bakery, and we made it on Shark Tank in 2015. And, I'm an elected official now. Things that I never thought would happen for me have happened for me. And it is because I think I'm always willing to try. I have learned to harness the power of the try. And I think that if I don't leave anything with anyone today, that I leave that with you, that nugget. Don't talk yourself out of any opportunity. Just because it's hard, just because no one has ever done it before like you, just because you've never done it before, does not mean that it is impossible. There is power in trying, and we all need to, at some point, activate that power in our lives.
Wow. That's Tisa Smart-Washington, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. We had a great time. Oh, absolutely. We hope that you enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks so much.